American Idol, a very real dream for many young people. Joanna Beasley from Michigan was one of the contestants in 2003, and she reached the semifinals. It is a joy to welcome a real live American Idol person.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Who now lives in two places.
Yes, we have a very interesting life. It's led us to a very interesting road, but I'm very thankful.
Would you allow us a little indulgence and take us into the American Idol experience?
Definitely, definitely.
Now, how many lined up when you were one of the hopefuls?
Oh my goodness! At the beginning, well, I believe that the year that I auditioned, I believe it's much more now, but there's about 70,000 across the country in the United States that auditioned for the American Idol. It was season 2, and so in Detroit that's where I auditioned. I'm not sure the exact number, but obviously 70,000 is quite a few.
Well, and just the second season, so I mean it's grown every year.
Oh, definitely, definitely, yes. It was a great experience. It was really the first thing I had ever done, you know, with music, and God just really used it to open up so many doors of what we're doing now. You know, it's just with worship and touring and so many different things and speaking to youth. But
you hadn't been singing before?
I mean, you know, I sang in the choir. I remember I sang in church probably like 2 or 3 times before that, and we have the video. It's very hilarious. I would have given it to you, but it's kind of embarrassing because I'm just shaking. You know, my voice is just shaking, and I'm just shaking. So the American Idol experience was definitely intimidating at first, but you know, my dad was with me because I was 16 years old, so I had to have a guardian, and you know, he read me 1 Timothy 4:12. It says, "Don't let anyone look down on you because you are young, but be an example for the believers in your faith, your speech, your life, your purity." And that just really encouraged me to know that even though I'm young, you know, even though I wasn't very experienced, I hadn't gone to college like many of the people, you know, to study music, but I knew that the Lord was in me and living through me, and through His ability, I was going to be able to do, you know, my best and really just allow Him to work through me, and He would use me.
Wow, right to the semifinals. We have some photographs.
Yes.
Let's jump in.
Yeah. So this was one of the auditions out in LA. I auditioned in Detroit and I made it to Hollywood. So there were 4 auditions out in LA, and I think that girl, the blonde girl, if I believe her name correctly, is Kimberly Locke. She's actually pretty popular for another TV show, but this is our coach. She was teaching us how to do a few different songs in different keys. We got to pick, you know, which song we wanted to do, what key we wanted to do it in. And this is actually the tour that I was just on last spring, called Beyond Idol's Worship Tour. And so
Beyond Idol's?
Yes, Beyond Idol's Worship Tour. It was an amazing experience for 6 weeks. Myself and then 3 other Idol contestants from around the world, 2 from Indonesia and 1 from Africa, that had competed in the Idol competitions.
Obviously, who were believers in Jesus Christ.
Oh yeah, and it was just an amazing experience. My sister Angel was with me out in LA as well.
Wow, and we know who that man in the middle is.
Oh, yes.
Simon. Well, we won't add the...
Yeah.
And here, this is you.
This is me, actually. Worship has become a huge part of what we do. You know, when I first started performing, as you would call it, I definitely had a passion, you know, for the Lord and just to reach people for Him. You know, I was 16 years old at the time, so I was going through so many things, you know, peer pressure. I had a boyfriend at the time, and, you know, everyone was asking, why aren't you having sex yet? You know, all these things.
Why aren't you having sex
yeah,
yet?
you know, and I'm like, what are you talking about? You know, and so I was just really able to encourage them in the Lord. But my passion was, you know, I really wanted to just be able to encourage people in my shoes, people that were walking through a lot of the same things I was walking through, that, you know, God is real, He is good, He loves you, and His ways are not just good, they're best.
So you really felt, even in the idle moments and the craziness, I mean, it's got to be a bit of mayhem. That's certainly what comes across on the screen.
Yeah.
You were able to shine for the Lord there.
Oh, God was so just good to us, as He always is. I was so thankful for the experience. You know, I would always pray before I would go into auditions, and we would go in with other people, so I'd ask them if they would want to pray. You know, they would always say, yeah, you know, let's do it. And actually at one of the auditions, before we were going into audition, there was always a holding room that we would wait in just for the whole day. You know, it was a very
long wait.
Yes, it was a very exhausting experience for sure. I mean, you were up early in the morning, you didn't know when you were going to audition, you wouldn't go to bed and know what you were even doing the next day till like 11 o'clock at night. So, you know, at one audition, people just started singing, you know, in groups, and then started singing hymns, and people started getting up and testifying. Like, it was amazing.
Kidding.
Yeah, I mean, like, people were in tears. My whole family and I were just like couldn't believe it, you know, but it was, I had no idea. It's just funny to look back at that. I had no idea, you know, where God would be taking me, that I would be here, and, you know, that we would be so involved in that worship ministry, you know, as well.
Now, are you impressed that in what could be a very hostile environment to a person of faith, it seems, even in this last round, that we had a lot of faith expression in our two finalists, didn't you think?
Yeah.
I mean, that's wonderful. And the other thing that impressed me was you talk about there being this pressure to have a rock star quality, or, you know, what does Randy talk about, the it factor. It had a distinct country flavor at the end of this last round. What did that pressure mean for you as a young singer?
That's a really great question. I think, you know, through life, at any age, you're really faced with a lot of pressure just to, you know, meet the status quo and to perform a certain way. And it's, to be honest, something I've really struggled with. You know, before the show, I asked if I should change like 3 different times, you know, and my husband.
Your song?
And,
change your song?
Oh, no, my outfit,
oh, your
for
outfit,
sure.
your look.
Oh,
okay.
yeah. You know, and it's so many different things, you know, inwardly and outwardly, that you're just pressured. You're pressured with. And it's something I really struggled with. To, you know, my dad was a pastor, my grandparents, my, you know, great uncle, great grandfather, just everyone in my family were pastors, you know, so I just had this pressure that I felt I needed to live up to a certain standard. You know, even in school, as I mentioned, you know, I committed to not having sex until I was married, so I just, you know, I knew people looked at me differently, and I knew, I put this pressure on myself that I needed to live up to this certain expectation. And to be honest, just in the past year, the Lord has really just freed me of that, which I believe He wanted me to have freedom in that the whole time, but I wasn't really receiving or understanding it until I really truly started to begin to understand the gospel and really what Jesus has done for us on the cross. You know, I've been a Christian. I accepted Christ when I was 5 years old in kindergarten. Yeah, at my Christian school that I went to up through grade school. And I love the Lord. I've wanted to serve the Lord with my ministry, you know, all my life. Like I said from the beginning, we wanted to minister, you know, to young kids that were my age, and now just still ministering to kids. Carrie and I, my husband and I together, we speak to them just about purity and lead worship with them. You know, there are so many things, you know, that I have a passion for to serve the Lord, but just recently the Lord has just begun to really teach me truly His character and truly who He is and His goodness and the freedom that we have in Him. It's not about what we do. It's not about what standards we live up to. It's about what He has done for us on the cross.
This is so important, and I'm glad you're able to communicate this to I'm sure to people of all ages, especially to young people, because you really were tied into a performance-based relationship with God. He will bless me if.
Oh yeah, that's exactly how I felt. Growing up, you know, whenever I would make a mistake, I remember so many times just thinking, you know, Lord, you're not going to bless me now, are you? Because I did this. And I would just condemn myself. And, you know, I just, you know, am so sad even thinking about that pressure, just the way that I felt. It wasn't just a pressure from the outside world or even from my family. It was a pressure, you know, I thought that God was putting on me. And truly, you know, the Bible says it is for freedom that Christ has set you free. You know, Jesus came so that we can live righteous because of Him. We are righteous, you know, and Romans says, you know, we've been buried with Christ in baptism and raised to walk in this new life with Him. And so we are righteous because of Him, you know, and He sees me that way because of Jesus, and through His ability in me, you know, I'm able, as our pastor says often, you know, I'm able to live holier on accident than I ever did on purpose, which I love.
Well, I wonder if you were pressed into knowing no helper but God. Immediately after Idol, you were still in high school?
I was still in high school, yes.
And with all that visibility, you're a star. You don't have to win the thing to have your life change. Yeah. And that's exactly what happened to you.
Yeah. I believe that the Lord, you know, wants to use us all. He has very specific giftings that, you know, He's given us. And I remember the Lord spoke to me, you know, before I got cut at the audition I was cut at. He said, you know, Joanna, this is as far as I'm going to take you, but it's okay because I have other plans for you. And I believe that to be true, and I knew that was the Lord speaking in my life, you know, and I also, you know, Jeremiah says, you know, for I know the plans I have for you. They're plans for good, to prosper you. You know, I knew that the Lord had good plans for me. And so I went back to school. I continued doing sports, and, you know, I was very adamant about my grades. I was, you know, graduated in the top 5 in my class, and
Wow.
so, but through all that, so many doors just started opening. You know, my music career really began when I was 16 years old, and my parents took me all over the country, you know, in their little minivan with me in the back seat, you know, just traveling everywhere, just performing and ministering the gospel and speaking at conferences, doing TV shows, you know, all different types of things. I missed quite a few days of school, but thankfully everyone was really really supportive. There were some, you know, sometimes it would be a struggle, and it would be really difficult, but God really just, like I said, was really good to us, and we were able to do it.